Is your second mom the person who found you?
No, it was my dad, Ezekiel. My second dad.
Why isn't he here with your mom?
They're the leaders of another community. Where I'm from.
Is it far? What's it called?
It's called the Kingdom. It's probably like a day's ride from here.
Welcome to NocBro Nation.
Welcome back, guys. I'm Jarrell.
And I am Josh, and today we're here to do our predictions for the next episode of The Walking Dead, episode 10, Omega.
And there is going to be kind of a special treat from what I hear for the opening minutes. We are going to be getting a backstory to Alpha and Lydia. There were some pictures that were released, which we'll show those and talk about those here pretty soon, but that's going to be interesting to see a backstory because we did not get a backstory to them in the comics.
Yeah, that is why I am so pumped and excited for this, because it's new territory for us comic book readers.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know anything about Alpha's backstory. We only know that Lydia is her daughter. And we'll go over the pictures here soon, but it certainly looks like we are definitely going to get a backstory.
Yep. So normally we watch a next video for the next episode. Trailer, but they don't have one available. It's only available after you watch the episode, but there really wasn't much anyway. But we'll just read the synopsis and kind of go over our thoughts. So episode 10, Omega, a captive or a refugee. A new arrival at the Hilltop opens up about the leader of a group of mask-wearing savages. A search party sets out on a daring mission to find two missing friends.
Okay, so yeah, just from that, Lydia must come forward now with true factual information rather than her bold-faced lies that Jarrell and I knew that she was telling. So from there, she probably spills the beans, and this is probably where we get that conversation that she has with Daryl saying, I don't go looking for my mother.
Right.
She's, what would she say? She's bad news, or
yeah, I can't remember the exact
basically
line now,
an open-ended threat.
Right.
Don't go after my mother. You'll be sorry, something like that. But
I wonder if she's going to like confess to Henry first and then it'll get to Daryl, or if maybe she feels comfortable talking with Henry, like her anxiety kind of comes down a bit knowing that they're not going to kill her. So then, okay, I'll tell you guys the information. That'll be the point of how she gets to the point to tell them about her mom.
Yeah, I think you're right. My prediction is that she is going to talk to Henry. She's going to confide in Henry. Henry saved her life. But one telling line in that synopsis is a new arrival at the Hilltop opens up about the leader. Or no, I'm sorry. I was reading the wrong. A captive or refugee.
Right.
So right there, that implies that she's possibly not necessarily a captive, but she's a refugee. She fled her group because for fear of the way that they are.
Which is right now a little too soon.
It's too soon. But the fact that they put that in the synopsis,
could be how they changed.
We're going to start getting there,
right? Because from the comics, Carl actually goes out and actually saves her. You know what I'm saying? So they do give Lydia. I think they do give Lydia back in the comics, right? Or does she escape? I can't remember now.
No,
I'm losing it.
I can't. Gosh, it's been so long since I've read that arc.
But basically, Carl goes out and actually brings Lydia back. He goes out to save her, and that's when she kind of makes the decision of, I want to come back with you because the way that they do things.
I think they're going to continue that storyline.
Maybe Henry goes out searching for her.
Exactly.
Brings her back.
I think that the Hilltop gives Lydia back.
For Luke and Alden, probably.
Yes. And after getting Lydia back, Henry goes and gets her back because we see the scene with Beta. And that is probably where Beta comes into play. Henry goes out to save Lydia, get her back, and runs into Beta.
So probably, I think Lydia, maybe during this backstory, maybe we're getting this backstory from the telling from Lydia. I think Lydia is talking to Henry. They're talking about their family, their past. So Lydia is talking about how it used to be. Because I think this backstory is playing off of her words of how her mom tried to make things work before, but it didn't work. So I think this whole backstory is going to be the telling from Lydia in the jail to Henry.
Exactly.
And then that's kind of maybe where Lydia starts thinking about things like, well, yeah, things are really messed up. There were some really brutal things from the comics that the Whisperers did to Lydia, unfortunately, a lot of abuse. So I don't know if
not just to Lydia, basically
tie that any women.
The women in that group are kind of used from the men
for just pleasure.
For just pleasure, and
it makes the women. It tries to make the women stronger.
Yeah,
and Alpha allows this to happen, but she has a weakness of not being able to stop it.
Yeah,
because it's their way of life.
Yeah, she knows that this is a way to control them.
Yeah.
I'm already in control, but really she's losing control.
Exactly. So that could work.
Yeah, and that is absolutely right. I think you're right. We are going to open this episode with Lydia confiding in Henry, and that's where we're going to get the backstory from.
Yeah.
I think that completely fits, and I think we should probably kick off the episode that way.
I'm thinking
in a backstory.
Yeah. So
that'd be sweet.
Of course, the search party goes out for two missing friends, which we know is Luke and Olin. So let's get into the pictures. So we get Alpha unmasked.
These are definitely all pre or post pre-Whispers. So this is all backstory.
This is so the first picture has Alpha and a very, very young Lydia. She's probably maybe 10, maybe 9.
Yeah, that's
8
what
or 9,
we were guessing.
Around there.
And it makes sense too, because we know that there was a couple of years we were in the apocalypse for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had the 6-year time skip. Mm-hmm. So that's about 8 years plus or minus a few months,
right,
that we've been in the apocalypse so far. And we know that Lydia's 18, 19, of course, in
Teenager.
the comics.
Yeah. And I've heard from other people talking about it is that from these pictures, from this backstory, I believe they said they're around 23 days in. So it's 23 days since the start of the apocalypse. So everything's new. They're trying to figure things out. Blah, blah,
so
blah.
Much so that I've heard rumors in this episode we will get a radio transmission towards the beginning of the apocalypse. So how the government's still there, or there's still some
trying to evacuate certain cities or something.
There's still some functions of civilization left. So that broadcast goes out, and we might hear something like that in the radio transmission. As she's trying to survive with this group, and we see the group in these pictures. So the first shot is just her and Lydia. We assume Lydia. It's got to be Lydia.
It's Lydia.
Playing a game of checkers.
Yep, pretty cute. So this next picture, the guy who is in the blue shirt leading over, from what I saw on the stills of where we from Entertainment Weekly, who posted these, his name is Frank. And from the buzz that's going around is that this is Alpha's husband, and also Lydia's father. So that's going to be interesting.
I am getting a really strong dirty woman, Fear the Walking Dead vibe. Like, she loses her husband and she loses her shit. For those of you that have not caught up in Fear the Walking Dead, the previous villain of the show, spoiler alert, the previous villain of the show kind of snapped after she lost her husband in a tragic accident, and was right after the apocalypse.
And what's interesting is that how she was a villain was kind of a little bit similar to Alpha. She was using the walkers as living in their environment, and it was crazy. We won't get deep into that.
They mixed it up a little bit different in there, but it's very similar to Alpha.
Yeah,
and I'm wondering if I don't think they'll do the same thing, because that would be a blatant ripoff of the storyline of Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
But the fact that her husband possibly is showing up is pretty cool, because we get a little backstory on that as well.
And we're led to assume that maybe he didn't make it out, because we don't know if he's mixed in with the Whisperers. I doubt it, because that wouldn't be Beta.
He is not Beta.
Yeah, he's not Beta. So, so cool. Another shot of them. I mean, we don't know where they are. I mean, they're hunkered down somewhere. I mean, they have curtains and stuff up, probably for drying or maybe for privacy and stuff like that.
We see some lamps, so they've obviously lost electricity.
Mm-hmm.
23 days in, you're probably going to lose some structure.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to hear where they are. I've heard rumors that somebody mentioned they could be like in Baltimore, but won't really know for sure until we watch the episode.
It's a long way to go.
South. Yeah, it is.
I mean, it makes sense. If you're in Baltimore, you're kind of going away from harsher seasons. Mm-hmm. You got to assume that you're not going to be able to survive like winter
and stuff
in the way that you once could. Mm-hmm. So you're going to migrate south, which is
warmer.
Yeah.
Better. So this is a pretty cool shot. She's, I don't know, she's looking,
upset. I kind of get a feeling of upsetness in this look. There's not too much to go off of here, but you see, this is just another shot of the previous one where we see them kind of planning at the table. Mm-hmm. Her husband is bending down, much like the position in the previous picture right there. And that's her in the background.
Oh, so it's that shot.
Yeah, it's that shot. It's just her in the background.
I see it, yeah.
So
that's cool. So the group is
it's weird. It's almost like she doesn't have any leadership role.
Not yet.
So it's almost like a Carol situation too, where she was very shy or very timid.
Quiet, reserved.
She's
more focused on Lydia, and he's more focused on everything else.
Getting a complete Carol vibe off of this too.
One thing that will be interesting to know is what is her real name, if they'll give that away.
Ooh.
You know, what is her real name?
I love this, by the way.
I don't know if they'll give her real name. I don't know if we'll get it, but if we do, that's going to be interesting because it can be completely made up. Because, like we said, it's not in the comics.
It's not canon.
It's not canon. Yeah. So this is another cool shot of her and Frank speaking. Probably trying to go over plans, or maybe he's worried about stuff, or she's worried.
Maybe she disagrees with something that they're doing.
Interesting.
Which, obviously I think that there is a moment in this flashback where we're going to get to probably the death or loss of Lydia's father.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe has to do with what they're planning. They're planning to leave where they're at. Maybe they're running out of supplies and they have to finally make the decision to keep moving.
Maybe they're surrounded out. Maybe they see they're going to kind of surrounded outside. Yeah. It'll be a risk, but maybe they're like, we have to leave because maybe they're announcing you have to leave the Baltimore area, wherever they are, because we're like the military, we're getting out of here. Yeah. So everyone's got to leave. And they're just deciding, do we stay? Do we go? So,
yep.
Just her CPR instructions. That's good. That's good to know.
And looks like probably a little picture from Lydia, possibly, or another child. But I haven't really looked too far into that. But you can kind of see possibly like a little green figure with some hair. And I wonder if maybe Lydia's drawing the zombies. Because she's seen them as a kid and just, it's stuck in her head and she's drawing them on a picture.
Yeah.
I'm not getting anything else from that particular image.
Not
CPR. Wonder why they throw that in there.
I don't know. Maybe to think like, I don't know. I doubt they're like in a hospital. Maybe they are in a hospital and they grabbed, or if they're not at a hospital, maybe somebody worked in it and they're like, here's a CPR thing to have for if somebody starts choking or
probably
dies.
One of those HR classes of, hey, we're in a factory. If you ever see this, we need to do such and such.
Yeah. So that's cool. Interesting.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah. So, I will have to say, I am excited to get a backstory. It's kind of like, I have this feeling like I do when I don't. Like, I don't want to hear it because I want the mystery of the Whisperers to just keep going, for me to just know how savage they are. But the question still is always in my mind, how did they get to this point? How did the Whisperers and even the people that join them, how did they just decide, okay, I'm going to go with your philosophy. Let me go get my skin, put it over my face, and I'm one of you.
Yeah, and maybe we might not get that.
But I do want to know.
Yeah, I completely do want to know. And maybe we might not get to that point. Maybe it's just simply how did Lydia get to, what made Lydia feel the way that she's feeling, as far as, is she in danger? Because maybe she doesn't have her father anymore? Did the death of her father make Alpha the way she... I have no idea.
I honestly will say I don't think we're going to get a true backstory, because that would probably be a whole episode or half of an episode, and I don't think they're going to do that. But I think to get a small piece, to get kind of an idea, okay, this is how Alpha was early into the apocalypse. An event happened that made her change.
I think we almost need it.
And then
I think we almost need a pretty good backstory for Alpha, for a lot of the TV audience to understand how dangerous she really is.
Right.
And in the comics, a backstory doesn't really transition unless you're doing a whole arc on it or a whole comic book, like
from graphic
for instance,
novels.
Negan's backstory.
Here's Negan, yeah.
So yeah, I think it's very possible they could do it in the show. But aside from the backstory, what else is going to happen this episode?
I think it's mostly just going to be a lot of stuff at the Hilltop. Them wanting, the search party going for Luke and Alden. We're not going to get the reveal of Alpha at the Hilltop yet. I think that's going to be the episode 11. But I think it's just going to be a lot of that. And I
wonder if we're going to get any shots back at the Whisperer camp with Luke and Alden.
Yeah, for what the Whisperers are asking them, interrogating them, trying to find out.
Are we going to hear more of Alpha's voice?
Where is Lydia?
Are we going to get some scenes with Alpha?
Are we going to see Beta just standing in front of him you better answer questions, man? He doesn't say anything, but because he's so tall and menacing, he's just standing there staring. He does talk. Well, yeah, but I think
not much.
I don't know when they're going to reveal him to speak yet.
When are they going to reveal him, period?
Exactly. Period.
Yeah, that's the question. So
I'm excited.
Any deaths?
Deaths this episode? No. Unless it's somebody from the search party, like a C to D level person from Hilltop. I don't really know, but nothing major, I don't think. No major deaths from any major characters. So
I think that's it. Again, I think a lot of it will be backstory. I would love to see a shot back at the Whisperer camp of Luke and Alden.
I want to see. I want to know where their camp is. How far away? I don't even know how far away Luke and Alden are. How far away did they travel out to get to those woods? And then because it does seem like their camp is in the woods, maybe, or kind of maybe they only stay in a certain area for so long that maybe they keep moving around their border, their territory, not stay in one spot. I don't know. I want to see it.
I'm waiting for the Sea of Walkers.
Oh, yeah, because we'll be getting in there later down the road.
We'll go to that later, but yeah, I think this episode is going to be purely, possibly Alpha. We'll get a backstory, possibly scenes with Alpha, Luke, and Alden, and then the rest will be Lydia spilling the beans about their operation, and Henry and Lydia developing that bond,
and probably also Daryl and Tara kind of working together to decide what they're going to do with this girl, because Michonne's heading out. She's going back to Alexandria with the rest, and I'm not sure how much we'll see from Alexandria, but I think it's going to be mostly the Hilltop. So I think Daryl and Tara are going to start working together to find out what we got to do.
Yeah, can't wait to see the Michonne react to Negan getting out. That'll be interesting.
Oh God, yeah. When are we gonna get that?
Yep.
So we'll see, guys. But let us know your thoughts of this next episode. We absolutely can't wait. Yeah, let us know in the comments your thoughts.
It's going to be a good one, guys. I do not believe that we are going to be doing a live reaction to that. Obviously, it takes a lot of editing work.
Not this week.
We promise before the end of the season, we'll try and sneak a couple more. Maybe the last 2 episodes we'll give a reaction for. But either way, if you are a fan of our reactions, stay tuned. We got other reaction material that we can pump out for you.
For sure, guys. So if you're new here, please feel free to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the bell icon so you always be notified. Follow us at NocBro Nation on Twitter and Facebook, and stay tuned for more Walking Dead videos. I'm Jarrell.
And I'm Josh.
We're NocBro Nation.
We're out.